we're not here to make the Democrats a little bit better. We're not here to like get the little crumbs. We're here to actually enact socialism. And socialism is not just better capitalism. It's overthrowing the entire capitalist state.
And, you know, we have a unique responsibility to act from the heart of empire, the belly of the beast. The most important thing that we can do is take that empire down from within.
Our role ultimately is to facilitate our own empire's failure in ways that we can, ultimately to overthrow our own empire.
U.S. imperialism is not a thing that can be reformed away. It has to be overthrown through revolutionary struggle.
And to build a mass movement that can use the leverage of workers to hit the kill switch on American imperialism here within the American empire.
Progressives picked Plattner. So you need to replace him with somebody who is ideologically the same, because that is what was decided. The people of Maine, the Democratic voters of Maine said, we want a progressive. They did not say they want an APAC moderate. So the Democratic Party in Maine ought to pick someone who is ideologically the same or ideologically similar as Plattner. If you don't, and the DNC shoves an APAC candidate down your throat, you have my permission to not vote for them, because the Democratic Party needs to learn that it is not vote blue no matter who. It matters who. They sometimes need to lose in order to learn. Sometimes when you lose, you learn. And I'm just telling you right now, if they put a little APAC, send Israel all the bombs, give Saudi Arabia all the money, let the UAE run over us and give Trump another plane. If they put another APAC sellout moderate in place of Graham Plattner, and they do not put somebody in who is his same ideology, you have my permission to stay your ass home. Then they will learn when Susan Collins gets 6 more years. At this point, we have to teach Democrats. We need to instruct them and teach them how to treat us. It's like being in a relationship. You got to teach people how to treat your ass.
You know, the good thing about it is 6 more years, if she gets in, she might go the way of Mitch McConnell.
She'll be glitching and freezing.
Exactly.
Glitching and freezing, because they don't never want to retire. Why that old lady still? She needs to retire too. But you know what? Leave her in there.
Isn't she older than Mitch McConnell?
Probably. I mean, at this point, they're all 100 years old. But the reality is we're going to focus on the races where the people get to choose the ideology of what they want. People didn't pick Graham Platter because of his stupid tattoos. They picked him because of his ideology.
Who do you think leads the Democratic Party today?
Oh, we don't have one. I think the TDS, I think that's the leader right now. You know, right now our party is governed by the TDS, and now it's made it virtually impossible, without being punished as a Democrat, to agree something's good, or I agree with the other side. And I would define that by epic fury. I am literally the only Democrat in America in Congress that I've come across that's saying, I think it's a great thing to break and destroy the Iranian regime. I think it's entirely appropriate to hold them accountable. And what's strange to me, that every single Democrat that's run for president and anyone that I know in Congress says we must never allow them to acquire a nuclear bomb. When that happens, why not celebrate that or acknowledge that? I have only witnessed just criticism and this kinds of attack. Like, yeah, you don't have to agree on every single thing, but when a good thing happens, just because it comes from the different party, that tells me that you're choosing the demand of the base or the party over country or what's really, I think, appropriate in that circumstances.
Democrats like Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and on and on and on and on kept saying that, oh, he's gotten over the rough patch in his life. You know, he's apologized. Ro Khanna, he's on a redemption. He'll bring redemption to our nation. So they were willing to overlook or believe all of his explanations up until now. The only thing that changed is that he's no longer politically viable. His poll numbers went down to the point where it wasn't politically palatable to say that this redemption tour was going to be good for America anymore. I think you're right. He's never actually taken accountability for any of these things. The Democrats knew 98% of the things we knew about Graham Plattner, we knew before the Democrats voted in the primary in Maine, and they still voted for him.
You're watching the collapse of the oldest political party in the world. Democratic Party goes all the way back to Thomas Jefferson. And what you're seeing right now is that nobody who has common sense has the courage to stand up to people who are objectively crazy. I mean, it's not like they have the wrong ideas or the wrong ideology. They live on a planet that doesn't exist. You start talking about seizing the means of production, which was a great phrase if you're Vladimir Lenin or if you're Mao Zedong. But who in America is going to vote for that? They talk about they want totally open borders. We ran that experiment. It was called the Biden administration. It was totally repudiated. They want one of their platform planks, totally eliminate the police. Now, first of all, anybody who lives in a big city that has lots of criminals has to say to themselves, will I really be safer if, in fact, my left-wing crazy friends abolish the police? And, of course, the answer is going to be no. So I think you could be drifting towards one of the most decisively defined elections in American history. And we're working on a platform of the American people, issues where you're at 80, 85% support versus people who are crazy. And I think that could be what the core of the campaign is this fall.
Good afternoon. Day 3, day 2 of my grandson being here. So I'm going to have a punchline. I got to keep my points here. Got to get to it. Got a hard stop at, say 5:30. So we're just going to jump right into this, hit it hard. Newt Gingrich, somebody I really have admired over the years. I think he's got a brilliant mind. And he said 2 things out of that little minute and a half that really struck me. He said the planet that the Democrats, which I don't think it's Democrats, the planet which the Democrats live on doesn't exist anymore. He's 100% true. That planet doesn't exist anymore. I don't think it ever existed. Communism and socialism just doesn't work. The second part of what he said, though, is even more important because nobody wants to vote for this. And that's where he's wrong. That's where I think a lot of people are laughing it off, having a nice little chuckle, thinking this is insane. Like he said, this is crazy. But what I want you to focus on today, as we hopefully we're in the shadows of the Graham Plattner episode, is that perhaps this crazy is 100% intended. Now, I know there's going to be some people watching like, Barry, what do you mean? Why would they have somebody crazy intended? Because now I've gotten to the point. I have arrived at this juncture where I now believe this isn't by accident. This is 100% intentional. I feel like sometimes we see what the Democrats are doing and the media and what they're doing, and it's like listening to a different language. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to sane people. Doesn't make sense to real working people. Doesn't make sense to people who have raised a family. Doesn't make sense to people who have purchased a home and tried to build a life and a legacy. Doesn't make sense. I mean, we need someone at this point to do sign language and, reinterpret what we're seeing. So I'm going to try my best to do that for you today. In case you haven't seen it, here's the theater of Maine.
Hey, everyone. It's Graham Plattner here. I think as many of you know, over the past couple days, I have faced some very serious allegations, and I just want to make it clear. This is all false. The things that have been claimed did not happen. It's not real.
If it's not real, if it never happened, why would you drop out? Why would you possibly look at this and say, it never happened, I'm completely innocent, which everybody says, then why would you drop out? You see, he dropped out because, in my estimation, supported by factual polls and things of that nature, if you believe in polls, he couldn't win. He couldn't win. So I want you to just sit back and breathe for a second and say to yourself, or stop me if this stuff sounds familiar or unfamiliar, the Democrats are throwing a vast number of votes in the trash. 160,000 votes, tossed them all away. Now we're going to see a small select group of 300 or 400 people in Maine produce this candidate. And after conducting an election, a primary election, whose outcome they now see as a threat to their power, they got to get rid of Graham Plattner, because the idea here is to win, beat Trump. It has nothing to do with the people of Maine. Wherever you live, it has nothing to do with the people in your state. At this point, their only objective, the only thing they need to do is to destroy Trump and America. That's why I included the other people in it. This isn't democracy. It's just like they did with Joe Biden. They had the practice. It didn't work out. So here they go again, doing it with Graham Plattner in Maine. But unfortunately for the people just looking from the outside in, it got worse than they did with Biden. I'm not sure if you guys have seen, but this is the new guy that they say might be the one, the chosen one to step in. This guy here, Troy Jackson, oh, he's a piece of work. Troy Jackson, again, he puts on the common man uniform, puts on a hat, puts on like a garage mechanic outfit, looks like the real man. It's all an act. It's all a facade. There's nothing real about these people. It says, what is wrong with the Commiecrat men in Maine? They're replacing the Nazi with a guy who endorsed the Nazi. That should be enough to go, we can't use this guy. He endorsed him. Okay, but continue. He also abused women himself. He threw a bottle at a woman's head. And then, in addition to all that, he's being investigated for mortgage fraud. And you think to yourself, I saw that this morning and I posted it. And one of the things that I read from this that was pretty interesting, to say the least, was, are there no good people in Maine? Are there no good people in state X or state Y? Are there no good people in Texas that you've got to run Tallarico? I mean, it's when you look at these people, you're like, this is insane. This guy is not a pillar of society. This guy is not someone I look up to. This guy is not someone I want my kids to look up to. No, they're the most bottom scumbag, sewer-dwelling people possible. I mean, so bad. Let me see if I can make this work, because it's an image inside of an image, so you guys can see it. Okay, so bad that the Progressive Victory Group organization says, we began asking our contacts on the ground in Maine about Troy Jackson earlier today after seeing many suggestions that he should replace Plattner against Susan Collins. In our discussions, we've been receiving troubling information not only about Jackson's behavior, but the behavior of many prominent Democrats. I can't make this any smaller. Let me see. Wow. Because you got to. Well, anyway, it says, as Maine president in the state Senate caucus meeting several years ago, Jackson, in a heated disagreement, struck a female colleague with a bottle in her head that he threw at her. There are many witnesses, and it appears this is a widespread open secret within the Maine political society and not an isolated incident. So this guy is completely bat poop crazy as well. I visited Maine. Robin and I have vacationed in Maine. I met a lot of nice people. The hotel we were staying at, the airport where Robin got to fly a plane, literally fly a plane. Nice people. And you're telling me in a state of that size, it's not a giant state, but the best candidates are a Nazi, and yet another person who endorsed a Nazi and threw a bottle at a woman's head and is under investigation for mortgage fraud? You understand, this can't be by accident. This cannot be by accident. When you saw everything that happened in New York, you must have said to yourself, this stuff can't be by accident. I hope you're starting to see at this point, why would they be nominating and putting people in office who have this kind of, or rather, lack of character? That's, my friends, where I think the real story begins. It's the story I think many people are missing. The real story here, as far as I'm concerned, and I'll be open to your interpretation in the comments, is that the Commiecrat puppet masters don't want normal people to run. They don't encourage normal people to run. They don't want anybody who has a sane mind or past to run. Nope, don't want it. And I don't believe this is hyperbole because it keeps happening. Eric Swalwell, Biden, it just keeps happening. Look around and start paying attention. As you look at some of these people get on stage and some of the insane, as Newt Gingrich said, stuff that they say. Stuff that makes you and me go, what? Huh? What you're saying makes no sense. Pay attention. Are you telling me it's by accident that the Democrats keep running scumbags? I just showed you the new guy. Basically the same as the old guy. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Plattner, Swalwell, the Mandami types. Why would they be doing this? Most people would say because they don't care. They don't care what we think. And I've come to the realization, oh, they care. They most assuredly care. But what they care about is something that you and I care about different. You see, they had a chance. I'm going to get back to this. They had a chance to keep Graham Plattner in. They knew, because all these allegations were out there, everybody knew about these women. They tried to cover it up. The same people doing a dance right now were the same people. He's great. See, the Nazi tattoo, I could forgive that. Lumping up his girlfriend, pretending he's Lumpy Rutherford, no problem. She's a Republican. We can overlook that. Living off government benefits and his rich mommy and daddy while pretending to be some sort of lobster fisherman or oyster fisherman and he made no money at, that is pretend. It's fake. They built a persona. They built the same persona as they do for these DSA members, these socialists. They have no experience. They've never had a job. They don't make any money. They're just stuck in there. They're just doing what they're told. But then Plattner committed the gravest of sins. He started to slip in their polling, their internal polling. The power they seek means appealing, and this is where it comes full circle. The power they seek, the power that they're hoping to grab, is to appeal to an underserved, often overlooked segment of the population. You know, the orcs of America, as I'll call them. The sex offenders, the criminals, the pedos, the losers, the broke-ass people, homeless, people with absolutely no future, illegals, skillless friggin' orcs that people, no one wants to be around. No one has ever spent their time dealing with the slime in the gutter. Yeah, we've donated money. We've given money at the church and said, can you feed these people? But you didn't want them as a part of your governmental society because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be living the way they're living. But now all of a sudden, the Democrats see these orcs and they're like, you know what? There's a whole lot of these orcs in the sewer. And the one thing, the value that they have that they don't realize, The one thing that has so much value and cachet that no one's ever looked at these people is that they have the ability to vote. And they have a network of other people who are slimy, in the gutter, criminals, pedos, and they all have the same right to vote. And someone somewhere in some office went, you know what? If we bring all these people together, we will do fantastic because we don't need normal people anymore. We don't need people who are upstanding in their society. We don't need people who have achieved. We don't need people who understand God and have faith. We just need enough of these scumbags to be in our pocket, and we're going to be able to beat Trump and destroy America. And then you say to yourself, exactly how would they do that? Because they would count on their media minions to gaslight America into thinking that somehow they could metamorphosize these scumbags of choice into viable candidates. Every single one of you, I would think, looked at Graham Plattner when you first saw him and went, what the hell is that? It literally was one of the orcs. There's no appeal here. This is before you found out that he beat women and had a Nazi tattoo and everything. It's like this. What do you do? What do you know? Nothing. Nothing. If you listen to these people, they say nothing. It's complete pablum. They rely on the media to turn them into viable candidates. And then they just work somewhere and churn these idiots out. And then the rest of us go, what the hell is going on? Well, it's not meant for us. And then when it all blows up or there's something wrong, because it's a fake person, because it's just a profile, they can dump you. Don't need you anymore. You're interchangeable. I can build another one just like you. And so now Graham Plattner will go back into obscurity and he'll hang out in Maine and he'll go back to living on mommy and daddy's teeth. And he may catch an oyster or two. And in 6 months, nobody will know who the hell he is. Seen that before? Anybody hearing anything about Swalwell? Did Swalwell die? He's disappeared. Don't care. Don't want to know you. We'll dump you. We need just somebody else to fill the seat. And we'll find him. But yet they call this crap democracy. Graham Plattner is not out of the race because of what he did. That doesn't matter to these people. The orcs can destroy anything. He's not out because of what he did. He's out because the media couldn't or wouldn't keep covering for him anymore. When that turned, when there were a few people in the media who were like, I don't know about this. When there were some people who actually started sitting up and realizing another woman, again, credible woman, this time actually a Democrat, when the media couldn't cover for him, that's when the shit hit the fan. Bernie waited till the very end. I guess now we gotta find a new orc. This one's broke. We'll churn out another one. And sure enough, they did. Sure enough, they're bringing out this new guy. Same as the old one. But see, the part that's really interesting about this is when you listen to and actually see it in a compilation of what the media is now, what they were saying before and stuff. Here, listen to this.
The obsession with personal purity, we're not hiring a priest. We're hiring a senator. We're going to talk about fucking tattoos and sexting. He gets a hall pass.
I don't give a fuck if somebody had a toxic relationship. Toxic relationships and tattoos and all of this shit. Talk about Susan Collins.
He could be 100 times more fucked up than he is. He'd never be.
All right, so I'm going to apologize in advance for the language. But the language of these cuts underscores what I just said. They are so vile as people. it just comes out of their pores. And so, of course, they're going to cater to people very similar. Who do you hang around with? You hang around people who talk like that? No. You hang around people, who've done what Graham Plattner's done and say, it's no big deal, a Nazi tattoo. He smacked her around a little bit. She needed it. No, you don't hang around those people. Who does? Who hangs around people who act the way he has acted? I can't even understand how they found him. Think about that for a second. You wouldn't go to dinner with somebody like Graham Plattner. You wouldn't hang out at a party with somebody like Graham Plattner. And somehow the Democrats dug deep. Here he is. Here's the chosen one. How did that happen? Well, it wasn't by accident.
As fucked up as what we got in Washington now anyway. What I'm more outraged about is stupid Susan Collins. I asked all of you to consider the candidacy of Graham Plattner. I asked all of you to understand his flaws.
Are you rescinding your support for Graham Plattner after the lewd post that leaked?
What's the polling in Maine right now?
I don't get bothered by it as much. None of it. He's someone who had a drinking problem as a Marine.
Plattner has owned up to mistakes he made as a younger guy. Do I want to make the best the enemy of the good?
Graham Plattner.
What? They decided, they were told, they were paid, go ahead and support this guy. Make sure everybody knows none of it matters. The only thing that matters is to beat Trump, destroy America. That's it. So we'll take anybody with warts and bumps, boils, festering boils, doesn't matter. He's a Marine veteran. He's an oyster farmer. Oh, that sounds working class. He's a rugged guy with a big old mustache from Maine. He's the voice of the working people, Bernie Sanders said. Elizabeth Warren says, he's my kind of man. Okay. Those kind of things sound like something you'd say about somebody. And if he was your kind of man, why are you bailing on him now? Why all of a sudden did this insurgent become unbearable? It's a fresh face. It's fantastic. It's okay. He's got some problems. We all got some problems.
It's popular, even though he is flawed. He is a flawed man, just like I'm a flawed man. And this is the key. Everybody is flawed at some level.
That's a whole different kind of level. I will agree to that statement. Everybody has flaws to a certain extent. But the level of flawedness or flawed that he is, you're beating women and you're graping women. And hey, that's a whole other category of flaw. That's a very, very small slice of society of the men who could say, yeah, I'm that flawed. But then you chose him to be your candidate. Not the businessman, not the insurance man, not the guy who owns the supermarket, not the guy who owns a plumbing business. This is the guy you chose and tried to foist upon people because you needed an orc and you want the orcs to vote for him.
Perfect. All politicians have baggage. This just happens to be a candidate that has baggage.
He's got an anti-Semitic tattoo.
I feel like this president is saying, I hate black people.
I like Graham Plattner. You like Graham Plattner?
That's my kind of man.
See, the part of these politicians giving their endorsement, don't look at that. Don't look at what Bernie said. Don't look at what Elizabeth Warren said. Look at the people standing around them. Look at the orcs who have been invaded people's minds, who are looking at a man, oh, he's got some flaws, and thinking this is the best we have to offer. They're probably standing next to another man or woman who's got more to offer than the guy standing in front of the stage. But because Bernie and Elizabeth and everybody else said this is him, we got to support him. Not realizing what was happening.
I would vote for Plattner. Let's get some power. Let's take over the Senate. Let's take over the House.
Somebody that has put his life on the line for this country against somebody that is literally empowering the moral hollowing out of our nation.
He had 2 tours of duty in Iraq. He came back broken in a dark place. He took account.
I'm showing you this because you cannot let it go away. It will be memory hold very, very soon. You are not supposed to remember this. As they insert the next orc in, it's going to start all over again. It will just keep continuing. They don't care. Or rather, they do care. And as I said, their care is, we just need a body, somebody who can fog and mirror. You might as well get somebody, on Skid Row and run them. It doesn't matter. The media can convince enough of these people to vote for them in these certain districts. That's it. You have a vote. You can fog and mirror. You could be a candidate. You literally could be in Skid Row today and be talking on Face the Nation tomorrow. When Newt Gingrich said the planet that doesn't exist, that they live on doesn't, he's exactly right. It doesn't. But the part when he said no one wants to vote for them, oh, we can get those. We don't care what you people think. We'll find the votes.
Accountability. He acknowledges that he was misogynistic, was toxicity, and there was a verbal intimidation, which I condemn. It happened in a dark period of his life. He's taken accountability. He started an oyster farm. He was on the ocean for years. He found himself. Look, let's give him some grace.
Let's give him some grace. And Margaret Brennan just sitting there smiling. And nobody ever says anything. Hey, Roe, what the hell are you talking about? Give him some grace. Why don't you bring somebody who doesn't have women coming out the woodwork and everything else and a Nazi tattoo? Why don't you bring somebody who's presentable? Hey, we both buy presents for our spouse. You don't come back and say, hey, see this? Yeah, I found it in the garbage. Like it. Like it. Because that's what they're doing to us. That I couldn't even imagine if I came robbing, like, here, look what I found. It's for you. It's a present. Where'd you get that? That was in the trash down the street. Why are you bringing me somebody else's trash? No, this is nice. This is clean trash. You're gonna like it. Because it's not a matter of just putting him in the office that really is repulsive. It's the fact of, you better like it. You have to understand, we're telling you, we're using the media, we're using the aura of our political office, not just to tell you, we're telling you it's great. What was the outcome? The outcome was a landslide, record numbers of votes. He destroyed it. He was the candidate, the Manchurian candidate. All because they did this kind of stuff.
He went into combat on behalf of the United States. He went through a really rough period, PTSD type period.
Graham clearly made a mistake, and I've been on CNN saying that what I appreciated about him is that he owned that mistake. What is disqualifying is having a senator in Maine who just does Donald Trump's bidding.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on a second. So he made a mistake. I can look over the fact that he decided he's going to lump up women and, climb through windows and send weenie pics. I can look over that. I cannot look over somebody who votes according to what the president wants. Oh, God, no, that's horrible. Again, not even on the same thinking planet as us, because we're not supposed to. It has nothing to say to us. How low of an intelligence do you have to realize every single one of these people were lying to you, placating you, gaslighting you, turning you into an MK Ultra victim, and then all of a sudden today it's completely different. Now we got to get a new one. I thought
The guy who has served this country, who has gone through some really tough things. If this is going to be a character election in Maine, there is a question of character in continuing to support a president that is terrorizing immigrants.
The fact that when I put this stuff together, I have to point it out to you because it would go by so fast. You don't realize it because it's not working on you. You are people who have intelligence. But the thing he said there, if this is an election of character, stop. Aren't all? Should they not all be? Shouldn't that be the standard at the top? And you can debate what President Trump did, and we all did. We looked, we said, we saw who the people were, Stormy. Yeah, we saw all that. And we made our decision, but we didn't need other people to tell us. We just listened to these Stormy. And you're saying, if this is an election of character, wow, if anything else never told you where the Democrats are, that clip did. Shouldn't every single frickin' election in the United States be an election of character? Shouldn't every single person you interact with, the person at work, the person you date, the person you marry, the people who coach my grandson, shouldn't they all be a matter of character? I wouldn't be taking him today to practice and hey, who's that? That's the homeless guy. We just got him here and that ain't gonna work. If it's a matter of character, that told you the whole ball of wax right there. If.
Do everything I can to make sure that Graham Plattner is the next senator from the state of Maine.
You know, all those Bible-clutching Christians voted for the guy who we all heard boast about sexual assault.
Democrats have to.
Saul Alinsky, number 4. I got to do a show on Saul Alinsky because once you see Saul Alinsky's rules, you will see a lot more of the media because that's number 4. I believe it's number 4. Number 4 is turning your own values against you. You're a Christian. How could you possibly do this? Because your rules tell you how you live your life. And because your rules tell you something, if I use your rules against you, then you have to acquiesce. You see it all the time. You're a Christian? How could you be a Christian and do this? Hey, I read in the Bible where, Jesus said, take care of the least of us. You don't feel like you need to take care of the least of us. Oh, yeah. That's Saul Alinsky's rule number 4 for radicals. Go look that up. They do it very well. And if anything you're seeing today in this preamble to a show, that's one thing you're seeing is the complete power of the media, the complete power of a co-opted media where there is no more news. I make no bones about it. What I'm saying right now isn't news. It is complete opinion. I don't pretend to be a journalist. I don't pretend to be a reporter. I'm giving my opinion, but I'm trying to substantiate my opinion by saying that's bullshit. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm a Christian. I just swore. Yes, because it pisses me off when I hear people try to use our faith against us, especially coming out of her mouth.
Take over the Senate. They have to take over the House. If I lived in Maine, I would hold my nose and I would pull that lever and I would vote for him.
Maybe we should be focusing on the important issues facing working people throughout this country, not focusing on his marriage.
It doesn't matter because he's right about what's wrong. Sometimes
it doesn't matter. Man, can you think of some people who just have no mind capacity, who are just hearing this stuff over and over and over and drenched in it? A lot of times people say, Barry, why do you show this stuff? This is why. You don't see this. I have to bathe in it every day. I'm like, oh my God. Can you see what they're doing to these people? You're living your lives. You're going about your life every single day. You don't ever have to, unless you want to, wade into this stuff. But now think of all the people who this is all they hear. And you're wondering, why are people even thinking about voting Democrat? Because these vile people.
You make alliances that you would not have made under a different set of circumstances. Franklin Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, who did they work with? Well, Joseph Stalin. His imperfections are imperfections that we can all identify with.
No. Don't let them tell you that. Don't let them say, hey, we all have flaws. His imperfections are something we can all identify. No, not at all. I do not want to be friends with. I do not want to vote for. I do not want to be associated with. I do not want to work with anybody who has those kind of flaws. Am I a bigot? So be it. I think more things to lower myself and lower my standards, never mind to work with somebody like that, but to elevate them to a senator of the United States of America. Think of the prostituting these people are saying right now of their own personal values, because not a single one of them would want their mother, sister, aunt involved with somebody like this. And you know that's true.
Sit here and judge Mainers who want to push against the status quo. It's not my place to judge. If Graham Plattner can earn their trust, then he earns their trust.
He thinks he's a changed person, a transformed person. I believe him.
Graham Plattner is no Nazi. I don't think that he's a racist in any way. His relationship with his wife.
Think about how gaslighting works. Think about how if you don't know what MK Ultra is, maybe I need to do a show on it. Think about something right now. That guy right there, number one, he's okay with Graham Plattner. That guy is endorsing Graham Plattner. That guy, who should never show his face in public, is being cajoled here with the governor of California. How big is the chalice? How big is the cup of Kool-Aid, of Jim Jones type Kool-Aid, do you have to drink to listen to anything that Hunter Biden says? How are they even attempting to normalize Hunter frickin' Biden? What laptop? What hookers? What blow? What gun? What nakedness? I didn't see anything. That's who you're bringing out? That's when you realize it is a complete clown show of orcs. Because the only people who could be listening to him are people with no brain, or they're just completely brain dead.
His relationship with his wife. It's all about, leaked consensual, stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's all about consensual stuff, says the guy who's had pictures and a volume of activity on a laptop that would make most people crawl into a corner and never want to come out again. And what he did with his dead brother's wife. I can't. I tell you, sometimes you have to take a shower when you listen to these people, and the only redemption from this is maybe we can save a few Democrats. Maybe we can talk to some people like, you can't be serious, right? You're not falling for this. I feel too much for you to allow you to be succumbed here. There's something wrong. There's really something wrong.
Accusations against Graham Plattner are not classic Me Too accusations, not like classic abuse allegations. Of course, in the Access Hollywood tape, President Trump bragged about grabbing women against their will.
So let me stop for a second, because they use that thing. That's another Saul Alinsky thing. My grandson is here to play football. You know what, maybe you don't, but the talk in a locker room. Speaking to other bunch of guys, you won't even believe what I did last weekend. Oh yeah, it was awesome. You're totally full of crap. You didn't do nothing. If the woman came and said, yeah, he grabbed me by the you-know-what, that's a whole different story. Trump was talking, probably bravado. I'm not, saying anything otherwise, but he said this. Yeah, when I'm famous, the women love it when I just walk up and just cooch them. Ha, 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 ha. You're Donald. Yeah, it's Donald. A woman says you climbed in her window, drunk, and did the do with her. How are you comparing those? How can you compare a bunch of guys sitting around in a Hollywood trailer talking smack versus a woman actually coming out and saying, and then another one, and then another one, and then weenie pics. They know they're caught. They know we know. They know we know that they know, but they're not talking to us. They're talking to their orcs. They count on that.
I've seen Democratic incumbents losing in primaries in ways we just haven't seen before. What, if any, historical precedent is there for this? With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton. So if you squint a little bit, yes, I know this is somewhat unprecedented, but we've seen something a little bit like it before.
We have seen something like this before. You have to go back 16 years. Remember, it was that Republican Tea Party wave of 2010. I would argue the Democratic version of it is a new Tea Party, but it's on steroids. Why do I say that? Well, let's just start off with the fact, approve of their own party in Congress. Republicans in July of 2010, it was 52%, a very low percentage, but at least it was north of 50%. Look at where we are now with Democrats in terms of them approving their own members of Congress. It's actually below 50%.
See, one of the things he doesn't say, though, is why is that the approval of Democrats in Congress so low? And I would proffer here that the reason why the Democrat rating is so low is that the orcs want even more progressive commie stuff. It's not enough. They don't want the people who are there now. They want more orcs. It's like that scene in the orc movie, Lord of the Rings, where they were just churning them out, and they were down in the basement, and they were making all the kinds of stuff, and then they get to go run out. That's why it's lower. It's not that people don't like the Democrats. The Democrats, or rather, the commies don't like the Democrats. See, when you start building your orc legion, what they're going to do is eat the normal people. They're going to absolutely work to destroy the other ones who aren't part of their tribe. And so now we have a whole fusion of stuff happening where these people are coming out of the lower dwelling parts of America and saying, let's just take it over. We don't need them. The people who are actually doing stuff, and everyone will listen to us, and we've never done anything.
Democrats dislike their party more than Republicans did during the Tea Party wave of 2010. Just 47% of Democrats now approve of their own party in Congress. As I said, it's a new Tea Party, but it's a Tea Party on steroids.
And we're seeing the impact it's having on some Democratic incumbents.
Absolutely the case. You know, if you look at the number of Democratic incumbents, House incumbents who have gone down to defeat, it's actually higher in the House than it was back in 2010. House incumbents who lost primaries for Republicans back in 2010, it was 1, 2. You can count it on one hand. But in 2026 so far, it's already 5. It's already 5. You have to use up all the digits on your one hand.
So what you're seeing is a cannibalism happening in the Democrat Party. To me, though, well, I'll save it. But I think this is an opportunity.
5 so far, even if you include Lisa Murkowski going down to defeat in the 2010 Senate primary. Of course, she then went on to win as a write-in candidate in the fall, and you include the Senate, that only gets you to 3. Still, we're dealing with more defeats right now in Congress for Democrats, those Democratic incumbents, than you even saw during the Tea Party wave for Republicans back in 2010.
And the prediction markets think it might get even worse.
It could get even worse. In fact, it's likely to get even worse. So if you look at the Kalshi prediction market and the chance that 6 House Democrats go down to defeat, lose their primary in 2026, this number has consistently, over the last week or so, been hovering 80, 90%.
Think about that. Prediction markets, people actually start using their own money, and they're betting on this stuff. Like, we're going to tear down this party. We are going to destroy there won't be a Democrat Party. It's done. I think at this point we can say, stick a fork in it. They're done. They're completely done.
And when we talk about history books, the history books, right? If in fact 6 House Democrats went down to defeat in 2026, it would be by far, it would be the largest number in a post-redistricting cycle for Democrats. And get this, over 50 years. That's why I got this picture of the Tea Party on your screen right now, because you know what? It's 250, but also it's a new Tea Party for Democrats.
I was just in Boston. I saw where this all took place. All right, when we're talking about some of the specific races where incumbents might be in trouble?
Yeah, I mean, there are a number of races where they might be in trouble. How about Missouri 1, right?
Look at that. As you look at that, Missouri 1, this guy has a 38%. Vandemar, that guy who can barely talk, only has 19%. And then Larson up in Connecticut only has a 16%. They are going to devour these people. They are going to make sure that they take every damn one of these seats.
There's a possibility. How about a Michigan 13? That's a real possibility in terms of a House Democrat going down to defeat. And then in Connecticut 1 as well, another real possibility. And this is just what we've been seeing over and over and over again. We have been seeing that these incumbents have been going down to defeat, and it looks like there are going to be plenty more, at least if you listen to the Kalshi prediction markets, where people put their money where their mouths are.
Could be an historic summer.
It's crazy. And all of this is because they only want to appeal to the worst of people. The opportunity, I believe, is that because I know Democrats. Many of you may know Democrats. I'm not talking about the commies. I'm not talking about blue hairs. I'm talking about people who have been Democrats for a long, long time. Black, Hispanic, white, people who you talk to, who you may be family members with, you may work with. And at this point, our opportunity is this what you want? No, I know it's not what you want. You're my sister. You're my aunt. I know what you've done in your life. I know what you've achieved, what you built homes, you bought a house, you have a business. And now the party that you stood for your entire life has completely abandoned you. I know you don't want to be around rapists. I know you don't want to be around people like this. What are you going to do? They can't sit on the fence here. They got to do something. I don't know if you saw what Mandami did today, which might get him whacked. He's trying to say that Little Italy doesn't qualify as an immigrant neighborhood. Good luck with that. Can you fathom? And I remember saying this to some people in New York. You think the Goombas in Little Italy are going to put up with this crap? Oh, he won't dare come down here. Well, that only took a couple months, and here he is. You see, decent people won't and can't be controlled like this. Decent people, good people, even if some of them are Democrats, they still have principles. They still have children. They still have families. They still have businesses. Decent people might actually do what's right for the country instead of what's right for the machine in terms of feeding the orcs. We need decent people to start hunting these scumbags. And I don't mean, in a conventional sense. I mean, hey, listen, I got to take you out politically. I cannot have you. I'm going to have to put 2 in the back of your head in terms of my vote. I cannot keep continuing down this road. As what's his name? Elon Musk has said many times, he didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left him. Now we're seeing an entire swath of people who have to admit to themselves, this ain't what I'm all about. I don't owe the party my vote. See, that's one thing I think we have to tell our friends and family members and church members. You don't owe them crap. You need to make sure you're taken care of, your family's taken care of, your business is taken care of. The media will prop up anything that helps them get what they need. Doesn't have anything to do with what you and your family need. You're going to have to talk to some people at this point. You have the opportunity. The door is open for you. You know, the Democrats have been talking about this big tent thing. They don't want a big tent. They want a circus tent fire. They want to hoard everybody into the tent and then burn it down. Ask your neighbors, how much in more taxes do you want to pay? All these things that they are for, we know people who want nothing to do with that. And some of them are called Democrats. Those people are now the homeless. Those people are the ones who work their entire lives to get to a certain situation in life. And they've been abandoned. They have been abused. The Democrat Party has looked at these people and has said, you're an American, you love America, I hate you. I want nothing to do with you because we don't feel the same way anymore. This is a party that has survived by gaslighting its own voters, by using MK Ultra type techniques to completely bamboozle them and the rest of America just to even stay in the game. This is a party that looks like a guy with a Nazi tattoo and all kinds of assault allegations and said, yeah, he's our guy. He's our kind of man, until the media stops covering for him. Then they act shocked when normal Americans, and this is where we kind of have a commonality. There are normal Americans, normal Democrats who I am friends with, who are now starting to ask questions. We can't shun them. We have to let them know, have you seen what they want to do in your hometown? Right now, there's a lot of people down on, Mulberry Street in New York City who are saying this can't be real. This is why these people will keep losing. And this is why Trump won. This is why MAGA can still continue to grow. No matter what they say, we love America. If that's our commonality, if that is our base, if we all can say, I got a card from somebody. If we all can say that means something to us, then they lose. It's kryptonite. This is kryptonite. That and our crosses. They can't win as long as the commonality is we love America. I hate Trump. You love America? Yeah. I wish Trump wasn't president. All right, we got some common ground. Because they're not going to say that. They want you to suffer. You have to be able to see through the double standards. You have to see through the puppet master strings. You have to understand what's going on behind the curtain. Every time one of these chosen scumbags gets exposed, whether it's Graham Plattner, Joe Biden, Eric Swalwell, there's always another one, even the new flavor, Troy Jackson. It doesn't matter who it is, the machine will insert another orc, build him up, gaslight the country, and dump him the second you realize he's an orc. The entire party of Democrats right now, or Commiecrats, exist on illusions. They have no decent people. You just saw, they're all liars. They only have controllable people, and when that control slips, they throw the votes in the trash and call it democracy. That's the real story about this Graham Plattner thing. Not what you're hearing about on the evening news, not what the pundits are spinning, not even the fact of what happened to those women, which none of these women in the media have said we should talk to these victims. Remember, every single so often they were having these press conferences with these supposedly Epstein women. Where's the press conference with these women? They're disposable. They don't matter. Look, he's useless. Let's bring somebody else in. They want puppets. They want scumbags. They want orcs. People they can control at any time. And every time one of them falls apart, they prove it all over again. Wake up. Get your friends, your family members, your coworkers, tell them, wake up. The game is rigged in a different way now. The game is rigged to destroy America, and the only way to beat it is to keep exposing these orcs. And every single time, and I'm telling you, that's only going to get worse to them, the more people understand what they're doing. because normal people are finally seeing through the gaslighting. And once you see it, and hopefully you've seen it today, you can't unsee it. It's something you can't look away from now and go, this, as Newt Gingrich says, these people aren't from the same planet. And no one wants to vote for them. So then you have to think, who is it that they're getting the votes from? The orcs. People of the least of society. You don't want those people running your country. So I'm sorry I went a little bit long. I got to take my grandson to the practice, and I'm like, I may not have time for a lot of different stories, but I want to make sure I did this story and brought it to you as in depth as I possibly can. Let's check with SV. You got anything? What's up, brother?
I have a lot of stuff, but it's probably dated about an hour ago. Oh my goodness!
When I sat and planned this out, I'm like, this is going to be a long segment, but I think it has to be said, and people need to realize they don't care about us. We're not their audience. There's no, when you tell me, everybody's got flaws. It's just different levels. No.
No. Well, you got to remember, Barry. Got to remember something. Maximum warfare, everywhere, all the time.
All the time. Oh gosh.
All right. So
what you got?
I know you have a short fuse. So
I'm good. I'm not out. I got to be out the door at 5:30, so I got to end the show at 5:15, and I've got some more stuff to go over. But you're good. You're good.
Okay, so our buddy Clandestine posted something about 40 minutes ago. So Tyler Robinson, it's not looking good for him because the text messages and voice, the interview came out today, and it's like the defense sat there with crickets. Anyway, I love this response. He goes, "Breaking news. My high-level source inside Candace Owens' camp has just informed me that family members are planning an intervention for Candace to seek psychiatric treatment developing." I love it.
Oh my God. We're just asking questions here. That's all. We're just asking questions.
Just questions.
Oh my God.
And then you got the other guy out there, the guy that talks like this. He's got all his crazy tinfoil hat crap.
I turned him on earlier today for about literally 30
really?
seconds.
Why punish yourself?
Because here's why. It's the same quality of people that listen to the media that listen to junk like that. And
yeah. Insufferable. Very insufferable, man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right. So the next thing, it was going to be, all right. So you were talking about Susan Collins. So about an hour ago, Eric Doherty posted a new poll had just dropped. So I'll read that real quickly for the folks.
Hold on. I'm trying to see which one. Eric, you said? Eric.
Yes.
Eric.
Now a poll just dropped.
I just get your links. Hold on. It might be
I unfortunately I'll have to come up with some. I'll have to I'll put a header on them from now on, I think. That will help you.
I'm seeing a bunch of them. Hold on. Is it before the high rise?
It is the second one from the bottom.
Second one from the bottom. Okay. Second one from the bottom would be this one. Oh no, that's the Tyler Robinson thing. Yeah, his defense. His defense is doing the best job they can. No, the second one from the bottom I have is JD Vance's H-1B visas.
Huh.
I'm sorry, my fault.
Okay.
I clicked the wrong area. Okay.
It happens.
Yeah,
all right. So. Yeah, a new poll just dropped that shows Susan Collins is leading Graham Plattner's preferred replacement for the main U.S. Senate campaign, Troy Jackson. I know it's a small margin, 48 to 47%. It's per Dan Pollster's Z2A research. That's before voters find out that Troy Jackson is accused of throwing a bottle at a woman and of committing mortgage fraud. So I'd like to tie these in with your discussion. So,
if I'm finding it out, and I just told everybody else here that that's what's going on. I'm like, you did what? You threw a bottle at a woman's head?
Wow,
you're our kind of guy.
he seems like a nice dude. I saw the one with Pocahontas. You know, she said, she's my type of guy. I posted, I got a lot of eyeballs on it. It says, yeah, she'll take it back. She's an Indian giver.
Oh my gosh. I mean, if you've ever, and please in the chat, don't say anything, but if you've ever met a woman who's been abused in any sort of way, that's these poll numbers cannot be right. Okay. You can hate Trump all you want, but, but
Yeah.
you tell me, because there's some sort of, the women I've met who've had that kind of issue, they have a kind of allegiance, an unspoken word behind them. And there's no way you're going to vote for a woman who, I mean, a guy who, did the stuff that Plattner did. And that's why his numbers were going down. Because probably what happened is the numbers are telling you it's probably like 6 times worse. And so if they're saying at this point it's 48-47, it's probably something like 55-45. I mean, it's probably really bad. And if you know the history of Susan Collins, and I'm not a fan of hers. Every single time they have a polls pre-election, it always shows to be very tight. And then somehow she destroys the person she's running against. And I remembered that's really indicative of the BS of the polls up there. But as soon as the women find out that this guy uncorked the bottle on some woman's head, he's done.
Yeah. Well, where is all the Me Too stuff? I mean, MTG was on The View the other day, and she's not coming back. She ticked them all off. I mean, I don't know if you caught that or if you've been following that. I mean, oh yeah, you'll have to cover it another time, but she started talking about, Israel, is first, that kind of stuff. I didn't want to get into it, but so basically Behar goes, you won't be coming back. Basically said it because MTG said, oh yeah, if you should have given me more time on the show. And she goes, no.
Oh, they cut her off.
No. Oh, she actually said no.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
I mean, if you could see her going like, you need to get away, like she shrunk in her chair. Yeah, it didn't go well for her. Yeah.
Well, if you lay down with fleas, you get bitten.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, let's see. So what's the next one you got here?
I had something about Elon Musk, which was interesting because we talk about AI all the time, right? And let me just bring that up. Yeah. So apparently, I didn't know about the Anthropic AI, but Elon Musk apparently had some kind of row with them, and he says, I was clearly wrong about Anthropic. They are obviously currently the leader in AI. No company has released a model as good as Mythos/Fable, and they will undoubtedly have Mythos 2 ready soon. And I would never cut them off in a way to hurt them badly, even as a competitor. That's not my style. Tesla open sourced its patents, and we made the supercharger network available to all competitors, even though we could have made it a walled garden. SpaceX launches competing satellite systems with no increase in price or use of unfair terms. Even my worst enemies can attack me on this platform. So that was very, very interesting. Yeah. And, he basically said that if SpaceX does what it's supposed to be, it's going to be worth more than everything, combined in the United States. I mean, it's just SpaceX is, I think, still up. I think last I looked, it was up about $20 from its starting price. And by the way, the stock market was up today. It's up, it closed at 4:00. So it was up 139. S&P was up almost 61 points.
Even after the bombings.
Yeah, and get this, price of oil went down a little bit today.
Wow,
It didn't make any sense.
Everything seems to be up today. Oh, wow. Okay.
So
all right, you want to do a trivia question?
Yeah, let me get things set up. Okay, we're good here. Yes, I got the chats open.
All right, so
good luck, everyone.
I did not have a chance. By the way, what we're doing is giving away a $100 Visa gift card to, I'll be back at SB, a $100 Visa gift card to the winner. So here's the question today. I didn't have a chance to make a graphic for it, so you're going to have to listen. The question is, many of you know that Donald Trump has been on many shows, many television programs. He's done all kinds of cameos, but he was in one movie where he actually did not play Donald Trump. For today, I need to know the movie and the name of his character in the movie, because it wasn't Donald Trump. It was a different name in the movie. So that's it. You need to know the movie that Donald Trump was in and the character that he played that wasn't named Donald Trump. That's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard for people. I think, well, I could be wrong. If you guys might get it pretty quick, but I will check with you after the break here. One of today's sponsors is LTV Hydration. You know, if you're like me, a little bit older, you're getting to that age where you're tired all the time. Sometimes you're bloated after a meal, and no amount of water seems to help. Then listen up here. A few weeks ago, after, I had an issue with water retention. I called this guy, my friend of mine, Dr. Josh, a practicing doctor with over 25 years of experience. His answer shocked me. It shocked Robin. He said I was showing all the classic signs of a dehydrated liver. Not the kind of that more water fix. Your liver is your body's main hydration organ. If your liver cells aren't hydrated at the cellular level, the water you drink just runs right through you, which means you pee all night long. And that's sometimes why you can feel drained during the day, you can feel bloated, and you feel older than you should. You're real sluggish. Yeah, regular electrolyte drinks don't help this. They don't solve it. That's why Dr. Josh created LTV, a daily hydration drink designed for real cellular hydration and liver support. It combines clinical dose marine electrolytes and taurine to help your body and your cells hold water, plus milk thistle and dandelion root to support your liver's natural detox. I've been drinking it every morning, and the results have been incredible. In fact, sometimes I take two. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but it just really helps. No more bloating, no more afternoon crashes. You see me. Sometimes I do 2 shows. I finally feel properly hydrated, lighter, alert, full of real energy. If you're ready to feel the difference, go to drinkltv.com/Barry right now. And Dr. Josh is running a special offer of up to 64% off, but only for the Fanfare community. And you got to do it through the link in the description below. Click the link and give your liver the hydration it's been missing. Be back in 90 seconds. Actually, we're back now because I had to cut the 90 seconds so I can get back to work here. Let me check with SV if we have a winner. Who we got?
We have a winner. Ding, 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 ding. In the YouTube chat, it is Rhonda Adams, 3955.
Oh, say it again because I played the clap over your over your
it is Rhonda Adams, 3955. She'll get the information to me and I will forward it to you as usual.
Yeah,
congratulations, Rhonda. Well done.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, maybe
it was
somebody
tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That was a tough one.
They kept saying Home Alone,
Yeah,
but
like,
she was the first one I saw that had both parts answered correctly. So
yeah,
congrats.
Very well. All right, so before I get into the next story, I want to finish off with this Maine stuff because I found something interesting I wanted you guys all to hear.
This election cycle here in Maine, we have seen absolutely unprecedented energy and enthusiasm around the ideals that we share together as Democrats. And so here's what I want to say to the Maine people tonight.
So this woman is the new, not new, she's been here since 2025. She's a Democrat chairwoman for Maine. Very young. And she's talking about they're looking for someone who shares the same ideals. So you as a woman, are you telling me that you share the ideals of, the Nazi rapist?
I want to promise that as we embark in this process together, we are going to be guided by those ideals that we share and that many of us voted for when we cast our ballot for Graham Plattner. And those ideals are that work.
Pay attention to what she just said. When we cast our ballots for Graham Plattner, because she's reading right now. She's reading a statement into the camera, and she's absolutely reading something. So she just said, that's what we stand for when we voted, when we cast our votes for Graham Plattner.
People in this state shouldn't be struggling to put food on the table while billionaires are only getting richer.
See, that's when you know something's really wrong. I hope enough people start focusing on these people, because if that's what your values are, you don't have to read it. You know what your values are. If you ask me what my values are, it's like I want pay less taxes. I want my family to be safe. I want, whatever my grandkids want to explore as opportunities, have it be there for them so the government's not in the way. It's very simple when you're talking about your own values. I don't have to read them. I don't need them on a cue card as she's going like this and she's reading them, because they're the talking points of the puppet masters. Karen here, here, it's a freeze frame here. Look at her. She's not looking at the camera. She is specifically looking down at the next line she has to deliver. What have I been told to say? Who has stuck their fingers up my rear end and said, say this, speak these words? Because they're not her words. That's not the face of somebody who's confident in what they're saying. And the more you start noticing this stuff when people do it, and you realize they're just reading stuff. She doesn't mean it. She's not even looking at the camera. Honey, let me tell you, you're the chairman of Maine Democrat. Buy a frickin' teleprompter. That way you can look straight ahead. What is this crap? That should breed complete contempt and mistrust. I don't believe the words coming out your mouth because they're not your words.
And that also, those ideals include that our farmers and our fishermen and our loggers and our families deserve health care, and that women deserve to have their reproductive rights restored in this country.
Do women have the right to not get somebody climbing in the window and doing the midnight bop on them? So explain that. Oh, again, it's not on the cue card, so I can't read it.
And that us Maine people are going to vote in the first election where Susan Collins is going to have to face us after she cast the decisive vote for Justice Brett Kavanaugh that overturned Roe v. Wade. Those are the ideals that are grounding us in this process. It is time for us to unify. And what I can say about the process is that we are going to come out of this stronger than ever. If you have ever met a Mainer in your life, you know that we are incredibly resilient. We are incredibly grounded. And
see, this is when I hate the news. When they bring somebody on and just sit there and look and let them read. These people don't mean a single word that they say. They're puppets. They're actresses and actors who are being told these are the lines you have to say at this particular time. We're going to be stronger than ever. We're great. We're going to pick another abuser.
we have a lot of integrity. And what
we have a lot of integrity, said the lady whose former cabinet was the guy who was sending weenie pics to people and had a Nazi attack. Oh, God. We have a lot of integrity. Hold on. State your name. We had a lot of integrity.
we need from the rest of you all watching, the rest of the American people, and we are well aware that the eyes of our nation that we are hoping to serve well are on us. What we need from you is your support.
All right, now here's the good part. All right, so understand, you're sitting at home, you're a good orc, and you're the orc that you voted for has now been told he got to go away. And so what do we need? Tell me, Karen, what is it? What is it that's going to save the day here?
This process. And what we need are donations, because we have got a U.S. Senate nominee that is going to start in 2 weeks from scratch.
Show me the money. That's all she said. That's why she was on this show. That's why she was on, what's his name, Loris O'Donnell. And he's just sitting there with a dumb look on his face, letting her beg, we need money. Send us more money. Money, 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 money. Well, what about the money that was already set for Graham Plattner, who's now not running? Where'd that $40 million go? It definitely didn't go to the oyster farmer, but where's the money?
We have to have some groundwork laid for them and the resources for them to compete so that we can beat Susan Collins in November.
All right, now here's where it gets good, because she don't know what well, he may have given her the questions, but her answers kind of tell me she didn't know this was coming. Now it's different. Now he's going to ask you questions, and watch how she answers these questions.
The Plattner campaign have money that it can use in this election to support the Democratic nominee?
The Plattner campaign most definitely has resources. Whether or not they will commit those resources to the next U.S. Senate nominee is not something that I have insight in.
Wait a second. Oh, hold on. I took my hard-earned money. I gave it to Graham Plattner because I wanted him to run for Senate. And now he's no longer going to be a senator. But where's my money? I don't know. How the hell are you selling that to the people in Maine or wherever? And you're telling me this Nazi oyster farmer now sitting out a bunch of cash and you don't even know where it's going? I smell Todd Blanche coming. I'm just saying, I think Todd Blanche may be coming to Maine very soon. Either him or Kash Patel, because that didn't smell right at all. You're telling me they raised a buku bunch of dollars and he's sitting on it, but yeah, we don't know what he's going to do with it. What the hell does that mean?
If you all would like to support us, you can go to maindems.org/Senate and make a contribution this evening or in the coming days to help us.
You made a reference there to we who voted for Graham Plattner. Did you?
She didn't see this one coming. This was one I was pointing out to you where she said, you know, we who voted for Graham Plattner. Big mistake. Listen.
You vote for Plattner?
That's not something that I'm comfortable sharing.
No. What did you just say? What did you just tell the people of the country? In addition to everyone who lives in Maine? you might need to hear that again, because you're probably sitting back wherever you are and you went, there's no way she just said that.
We who voted for Graham Plattner. Did you vote for Plattner?
That's not something that I'm comfortable sharing.
Clown party. Absolute clown party. You are the leader of the Democrat Party in Maine, and you don't have the ability to tell the fine people of Maine, so did you vote for him? Hey, I'm not comfortable telling you that. You want my money. You want to be the steward of my money. But you're not comfortable telling me if you voted for the Nazi after earlier you told us we who cast our ballots. Which is it, Karen? You need to show this kind of stuff to people who are Democrats and go, listen to this, and let them hear this kind of stuff. Oh, Trump. No, you tell them beforehand, I'm going to show you something, and whatever your answer is, don't say Trump. You can't say Trump in the first 60 seconds after you see this. Because after they see that, if they say something like it's no big deal, just cross them off your Rolodex, take them out of your contacts, do whatever you need to do, because they're done.
What I will say is that the energy here on the ground has been undeniable. We agree with Plattner's campaign on that. And what I want to say to Plattner's supporters is that this is why we asked Graham Plattner immediately upon seeing these allegations come to light. We asked him to withdraw. Not because we don't believe in those policies and those ideals, but because...
Hold on. Hold on. When you saw that these things came to light, you said you need to withdraw. So you're telling me the incompetence level of the Democrat Party, who's asking me for money, because, you know, she's on television saying, send me money. The incompetence level is you didn't know that this guy was sending out delicious pictures to people or climbing in windows or, half a dozen other stuff that he did, then what the hell was your job? Look pretty, smile, and try to get as much money and tell us, I don't know, I might have voted for him.
He was no longer the best steward to lead that movement.
All right, so I want to have a civics conversation with you, honey. And my civics conversation is the people of Maine voted for him. 156,000 people voted for him based upon your recommendation as the Democrat Party who put him up as the candidate. They assumed you vetted him. They assumed that this was the guy that was going to lead us to the promised land and beat Susan Collins. Then you guys did an entire fundraising campaign. Let's give them money. Hey, give us your money for this guy who we think is going to be the one. And now here you are, 24 hours later, telling all these people your vote doesn't mean anything. How is that even possible? Why would I trust anything coming out of your mouth? Why would I give you a cent? Because what you're saying is if you don't like what the next Tom, Dick, or Harry does, you can rip up their votes as well. That one didn't work out. Let's try somebody else. So you are basically telling the people of Maine and the nation that the Democrats don't believe in elections. I got off work. I drove halfway across town. I voted for this guy because you told me to. Because, everything you said, all the vetting you did showed me this guy would be a great person. And you took my vote and you wiped your butt with it. And said, now send me some more money because we need to help the new guy. When I don't even have any faith that you won't do it again. That would be a question I would ask if she was interviewing here. If she was interviewing here, I'd be like, okay, what's your name? Whatever, Karen. What authority do you have to tell him to get lost? Is that something you could do with the next person? Can you quote me the statute that says you can tell someone to resign without ever even knowing where the money you already raised ended up? I don't know. Did you vote for him? I can't tell you that.
And that grassroots energy and that momentum remains here on the ground, and we can harness it together. But it does require us coming together.
How could it be momentum and failure? I've never gone into a locker room after a loss and seen momentum. What momentum? You just had a candidate withdraw. What the hell are these people talking about? Again, oh, that's right, I forgot. They're not talking to people with brains. They're talking to orcs. That's it.
And it also requires us to participate in a process that is inclusive and transparent, representative, and fair.
And what is the timetable for this?
So we need to submit our new nominee's name by 5 p.m. on July 27th to the Secretary of State. So in the next less than 2 weeks, we need to put together what we typically have a full professional team do in 6 to 8 months.
Are you taking any guidance or consultations with Chuck Schumer or the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee in Washington, D.C., what Graham Plattner tonight was referring to as the Democratic establishment?
Again, us Mainers are very attached to our
I don't want to answer that question. You talking to Chucky Hakeem? I can't answer that. How could you, as a reasonable person in Maine or any other state, listen to this complete vomit that she's doing on television? And the smiles, the smirks. Hey, we're going to pick a new person on... Who the hell is it up to you to pick somebody? I thought people voted. However bad of a person he was, they chose him. You made him go away, but what doesn't make sense to me was in his suicide note reading speech, he's like, they decided to cut off the money, but now she's saying she didn't have the money. So where's the money? If you had to withdraw because the Democrat Party withdrew their support financially, and she's saying we need to raise more money for this guy, Where'd the previous money go? And Lawrence here at MSNBC, he's not asking the question. I can tell this is scripted because he's putting up the softballs, and anytime he goes off script, I'm not going to talk about that.
Independence. We are completely in charge of running our own process. That is not just.
Then why ever vote in Maine ever again? The next time there's an election, why ever vote? We are completely in charge of our own process. We go through a charade of letting people go to the ballot box. Look at these. All these people are standing out in the rain. It doesn't matter. We do this. Not you people. Your votes mean nothing. And now we've seen it at a national level with Biden and Kamala, and now we've seen it happen over again.
Our own preference. That is actually also what our state statute and our charter requires. The only entity, despite anything else that you might have heard up until this point, the only entity that is legally able to make these decisions about this process is the Maine Democratic Party.
Now you know. Now you know. If you know anybody in Maine, you can tell them, don't bother getting off your couch ever again. It doesn't matter. And she just came on television. We are the only people who can do this. This woman can't be more than 27, 28, and she's running everything in Maine. She has basically told 160,000 people, F off. You can't make this up. I know I've spent a lot of time on it today because this is going to be the last time I talk about Graham Plattner in Maine. Y'all doomed. I just wanted to make sure I got it all out and let you guys see it and understand before it comes to your state, because she just said, oh, it's in the statute. Oh, you need to begin looking at the statutes in your state saying, can they just kick anybody off that they want and start over, do a complete mulligan? Yeah, she just said, yeah, we can do it.
Specifically, our Maine Democratic Party chair in consultation with the county chairs of our 16 counties. That is the process we have put forth. There is nobody else who is able to participate in helping us put that plan together legally from outside of our state.
Yeah, okay. So Chucky and Hakeem and Bernie, and nobody had anything to do with it. Me, my little 27, 20-year-old blondie self, I control all of this. At this point, even though we may not have supported Susan Collins, I almost feel like I have to do something for Susan Collins just to protect democracy as we know it. To let people know that we can't do this kind of stuff. We can't let this happen. We can't let the inmates run the jail. The crazy people running the asylum. And notice that they're all being pushed in these positions and they're all like wet behind the ears. I would love to know her resume. What have you done since you got out of college? Now you're running the Maine Democrat Party? My God. My gosh. Absolutely crazy. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's not here. Oh, he's there.
Oh, I was just coming right back. I was posting some news. I'm in, I'm out.
That's it. I shall never do another segment about Graham Plattner in Maine again, because I just wanted people to know what was going on up there. We're not Democrats, so it doesn't really matter a lot to what we see, except to know that these people cheat, which we knew, but now they're brazen about it. They've taken the veil off. This is how we are. We're going to steal money. We're going to pick whoever we want. And we're going to get the media to support it.
Sounds like a resume for a liberal. Thank you.
I ain't ever seen that level of libtardiness before. All right.
Well, you know what, Barry? I think what you showed today, my estimate has gone up. I'm saying close to 68% of the country is boing. I've told you in the past, 65% were like they're retarded. I mean, it can't be anything other way. You could say, "Oh yeah, they're delusional, they're gaslit." No,
like John Fetterman said. John Fetterman said he was asked a question in the previous segment: "Who's running the Democrat Party?" He goes, "TDS."
TDS. Oh, I love that.
That's the leader of our party is now TDS. And I'm like, oh my gosh, That's absolutely incredible.
You know, it only took a minor stroke to get him straight. You know, I mean, I don't know.
that and age. I think at this point, you know, we all grew up with our parents saying, "No, when I was your age, I did this or that." Now it's like when I was your age, I actually did information myself, and I didn't like have the media tell me when to wipe my butt and stuff. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. I mean, so bad.
Yeah, this is just. I'm sitting here listening to your show. I'm thinking like, this can't be real. It can't be real. It's real.
It's real.
The world is upside down. It got some crazy stuff going on. I just read something to so New York City, there was 2 churches that were firebombed, and the police are not releasing the suspect. I wonder who he is.
Oh, Akbar.
Wait, hold on. Didn't do nothing.
Didn't do that. Hey, do me a favor. I'm gonna go into the next commercial.
Yes.
See if you can find any information, please, on Little Italy, because to me that's a funny story. Because you're inviting hell to rain down upon you by going after the Goombas.
All right, I'll take a look. I'm on it.
I'm like, are you absolutely kidding me? Are you really going to turn and go after the people in Little Italy? Because they're not gonna like it too much. I'm telling you guys, I've known some of the Goombas down there, and it ain't gonna be pretty. So before I get into the next segment, let me tell you about our other sponsor today, PDS Debt. You know, you're probably working your ass off just to stay broke. Nope, you don't. Nobody wants to do that. PDS Debt can fix that. Still stuck in debt after all those payments? PDS shows you a way out. Feel like you're working hard but still losing money every month? PDS Debt can help that as well. Your debt's not broken, you're just using the wrong system. PDS Debt fixes it. Minimum payments aren't designed to get you out of debt. They're designed to keep you stuck. PDS Debt is the way out. They can reduce up to half of what you owe on credit cards, personal loans, and medical bills. And it all starts with a free 30-second assessment at pdsdebt.com. Just stop juggling multiple payments and get one lower monthly payment. Savings start the day you complete that 30-second assessment. Checking your options is fast, free. I like saying it when I'm dealing with people who've got free stuff for you guys. It's fast, free, and it won't impact your credit whatsoever. If you're carrying any balance on your credit cards, it's costing you money every single day. No minimum credit score is required, and PDS Debt is a top-rated company in the industry. Thousands of 5-star reviews and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. I know a lot more of you are carrying this weight than would ever admit it. That's okay. If you need help and you don't know where to turn, I want you to hear this. There is a way out, and it starts with PDS Debt. So go get your free, I'm going to stress that again, free 30-second personalized assessment right now at pdsdebt.com/Barry. Do it today. Your future self will thank you. You don't have to walk around with all that debt sitting on your shoulders.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
In judicial ethics, the mere appearance of potential fraud is disqualifying. Same goes here. Whether or not there is widespread fraud occurring, there certainly could be. And it doesn't matter how many times you scream, there's no widespread fraud. A lot of people believe there is, and there's no way to actually validate it. This isn't just about whether or not fraud is swinging the election. The appearance of fraud already is swinging the election.
None of us wants to believe, even though many of us have actually seen what we would consider evidence, that people are just turning their back and allowing fraud to take place. But it's hard to look away with every single day something else is turned over. Something else is talked about in terms of fraud. They're stealing money even in the education department. I'll have that story for you tomorrow. Billions being stolen through all kinds of Medicare fraud. Billions being stolen through the education. Billions. Every time we turn around, it's just money, money, money. So, of course, we've seen the stuff with the voting, and we understand that it is happening. And they keep trying to tell us, the same way they tried to tell us that Graham Plattner was a good guy, that I know there's no real voting problems. Nobody's really can prove it, because they built a system. And this is what Spencer Pratt is going to be talking about. They built a system in some of these states where you're not even allowed to see the fraud. Of course there's fraud. We've just been looking in the wrong place. We keep looking in the count. And when we do the counts and everything matches up, they say there's no fraud, but it's not the count where the problem is happening. The problem is happening way before the ballots get collected. And this is the new, I say, outlook and perspective we need to have in terms of being able to fight voter fraud. The investigation can't happen afterwards. The investigation has to happen beforehand. Who are these orcs? Just like with the Maine, who is basically submitting these votes? If you have an entire criminal enterprise that is working to steal elections, and the only way you can validate things is after the crime has been committed, then it's too late. Of course the ballots are going to match, but you don't know where they came from. And so the outlook at this point is, number one, none of us in the past would have considered how evil these people are and to what extent they would go to steal elections. And now we've got somebody, Spencer Pratt, who was actually in the election, who's now on the other side exposing it firsthand.
People rightly have zero faith in this janky, inefficient system. They feel like their vote isn't being counted. They feel like illegal ballots are being cast, and they're not wrong to worry about it. There's literally no safeguards in place to prevent that from happening, and way too many openings for it to occur on a massive scale. You all saw how I was neck and neck with Karen Basula on election night, nearly double digits ahead of Nithya, just as the polling predicted.
Rahman fighting tears on election night, trailing Spencer Pratt by roughly 40,000 votes and about 10 percentage points.
I dominated the in-person vote. I smashed Nithya on the mail-in ballots, too. She was crying on election night. It was over. Then a few days later, suddenly Nithya started overperforming as they...
Did that look familiar? Well, yeah, we know it. We saw it. We lived through it, 2020. All of a sudden, boom, something changed. Everything changed. And then every single lawsuit that came in after the fact was going after the wrong thing. We've learned in 6 years now what to look at. It's not counting the votes, because more than likely the votes will be there. It's how did these votes happen? How are these votes manufactured? And I love what Spencer Pratt is doing right now, because he's doing everything he possibly can to expose where the problem is. Not afterwards. Not afterwards going, what happened? Let's go ahead and have a recount. No, if you're going to have a recount, it's going to be the same thing. The numbers will probably end up matching. They've been laughing at us the entire time because they knew you'll never catch us. Because all the stuff that's happening is happening in the dark beforehand. That's what I think this video is all about and why it's really important for us to take a look at this.
Continued to accept ballots 7 days after the election.
What days of county mail-in ballots have changed the map?
I'm so grateful.
Rahman has now erased a 40,000 vote deficit and moved ahead of Pratt by roughly 3,000 votes, a net swing of more than 43,000 votes.
43,000 votes, which just happens to be the exact number of homeless people on the streets in LA. They assured everyone that this is normal because for some reason that they can't explain, Democrats overwhelmingly vote by mail.
There's a historical phenomenon in national voting called the red mirage.
The red mirage.
What we were calling a red mirage.
The red mirage.
Now they've got their nice little coined phrase, the red mirage. What's the red mirage? The red mirage is when you go to bed and the red candidate is way ahead. It looks a certain way, but it's not real. It's a mirage. And then when you wake up, you're like, what the hell happened? Oh, overnight happened. Overnight when we had to figure out how many we needed to win. The count's got to match. Oh, we needed 45,000. We got 45,000. Oh, you can do the recount because what you're counting actually works. It's what they did to get it there. And in that regard, when you start looking at it from that perspective, now we start seeing where the cheat happens. The cheat's not in the count. The cheat is, how did you get to that number?
Right. Yeah. This term was coined because about some swing states count votes, usually favoring Republicans early. Then it becomes an advantage for Democrats later in the evening and then into the next morning.
You expect to see the Republican with a lead, but it's not really a lead.
Democrats vote in higher numbers by a mail-in ballot.
I knew a single person that mailed their votes in. Nope. I've been black quite a while. Known a lot of Democrats. None of them mailed their votes in. So when you say historically, Democrats are the ones who do mail-in votes, understand we didn't even have mail-in votes until the whole, jab-a-demic happened. So it's not historically. There was no history. It was absentee if you were in the service or something, but everybody else, you had to get your rump out there and go vote. And now you're telling me all of a sudden the Democrats have embraced mail-in ballots so much. In what? 4 years. There's your history.
Democrats vote in higher numbers by mail-in ballots.
But not all Democrats, just the ones who are voting for the third place candidate, the one candidate who really needed the votes. Don't forget, there were 2 Democrats in the race, but for some reason, only the third place Democrat who needed the votes saw a disproportionate spike in votes several days after the election. Plus, multiple studies have shown that mail voting doesn't provide an advantage to either party. It's a myth. The media will say that claims of fraud here are without evidence. Keep in mind, an anomalous statistical spike like this is evidence of fraud. Ask any forensic accountant. It may not be necessarily proof of fraud, but it is certainly evidence of fraud. But forget the late ballots. Just because the vote swing coincidentally matched the specific Lhasa count of homeless people on the streets.
That's the problem. It always matches what they need. I've had a problem so many times. I've told Robin, I'm like, it's so embarrassing where you'll be on election night, you'll be watching the results come in and every other county puts their votes in. And then you're like, well, the inner city hasn't come in with their votes yet. Every single time. Well, we're waiting for inner city Philadelphia to show up with, they count slower. They're in, they're the darkies. They can't count as fast or something. Every single election. Without fail, it's always we're waiting for the inner city. Those deep blue areas. For once, why don't we just let the red people hold off putting your ballots out? Why don't you sit on them? Why is it that every single election, the red counties and the red cities, immediately, here, we got all ours. We're going home, okay? We did our job. Or maybe let them count and then send them over to the blue areas because obviously they can count faster and better. How can this area go through and boom, 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 and then the other area is like, not going to be ready for days. You're telling me in 2026, if you know this is how it's going to be, well, Barry, there's more population in the inner city, then get more people. I don't know. worked in a restaurant, worked in a bar. You know when things are Friday night staff was a lot bigger than the Tuesday night staff. The Saturday night staff was bigger than Friday night staff. Why? Because I know there's going to be more people. And you're telling me in 2026, we still don't have the ability to put the right amount of people that's supposed to be there so they can get it done quickly. Crazy.
Just because NGOs that Nithya cuts checks to were hoarding ballots, just because hundreds of thousands of dead people and ex-presidents who've left California were still on the voter rolls, doesn't mean anyone is taking those loose ballots and filling them out. First off, it's against the law. And we all know if it's against the law, it doesn't happen. Secondly,
no, I didn't put that in there. He dropped that OJ picture. Oh boy. Oh man, he's going to get a lot of hate mail for that one.
we have signature verification. Everyone has to sign their ballot, and a computer checks your signature. Well, except some voters can't sign, so they carved out a rule where you can just make a mark on the ballot, and a witness can sign on your behalf. It can be an X or a scribble or even a happy face, as long as a witness signs off on.
I know some of you guys who are in like, yeah, I don't know, real world counties. You're like, oh hell no. You can literally just put a smiley face on and someone else can sign it and go, yeah, that was Barry. Remember what I told you earlier about the orcs? Remember what I told you that they've dug up and their audience and their pool at this point is the most insignificant. I don't mean people insignificant. I mean people that they have discarded who are willing to do anything for 15 or 20 bucks because that, where was it? But anyway, that group of people, can you write? No, make a smiley face. I'll give you 10 bucks and I'll just say, you know, your name is or whatever. That's where we are in 2026, where we're just going after these people, basically taking advantage of their position in life at this point and using them as your own personal group of orcs to get votes.
And don't forget, once they separate the ballot from the envelope, there's zero way to trace it back to the ballot to check if a sudden tranche of votes that swung predominantly to one candidate had come from a bunch of ballots with the happy faces in the signature box. The DSA instructs their ballot harvesters to go door to door and tell them to vote for Nithya Raman and even help them fill in the bubble for their preferred socialist candidates. This is explicitly illegal. A ballot harvester can't tell you how to vote, and they certainly can't help you fill out the ballot. The laws don't matter if you have no mechanism in place to prevent the crime from occurring in the first place. There is this misnomer being parroted even by staunch critics of California's rigged voting system, saying there's nothing you can do because this is all legal in California. It's not.
I have a problem. I have a problem in Elon Musk has somehow figured out how he can fly a rocket and park it back down where it's supposed to be. He can send a rocket up into space, and all of a sudden this rocket that was up in space can come back down. But you're telling me in terms of, I don't know, ballots, there's nothing at all that we can do about how these people are counting. Anybody else find that just completely, I don't know, outrageous? Possibly fake?
It's still 100% illegal, but there's no way to stop it from happening. Now here's the smoky backroom dealing. 5 days before my election, Gavin Newsom signed a ridiculous law that literally banned federal and independent authorities from investigating vote fraud or overseeing elections to monitor for fraud during the counting process.
That's why. So, want to make sure you understand that. Because things are so good in California, I'm going to pass a law that says you can't check our work. You can't check our homework. If you even try to check our homework, we're going to put you in jail. Nothing to see here, folks. You get to go to jail if you question us. What country are we in? How can you put people in jail who don't think things are right?
Moving forward with new legislation that would make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote has been certified by state and county officials. We will be the wall he cannot get past.
That's like banning the bank from having security cameras. Now, the timing of this was deliberate. He knows this won't hold up in court, but he did it so close to the election day, he knew the courts wouldn't be able to overturn it in time.
That's a huge thing that the Democrats do. They know they have great lawyers who understand dates and process, and they understand if we do this on this date, even if it gets thrown out, it'll be too late. The founding fathers never thought people would cheat to this extent. They never thought there'd be such unruly characters in our government that they would work hard to subvert the will of the people. That power is more important than what the people think. That's why they came across the ocean, is to get away from stuff like this. And here we are in 2026, and that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. Power at all cost. We could give a crap about you. I'm the governor of California. I know you're living in squalor, but guess what? You get to vote. And so now I know I need to protect the people in squalor. The people who are drug addicts, the people who are homeless, they have more value than the homeowners, like Spencer Pratt.
Time for the election. It's truly like going up against the casino. The deck is so stacked against you, you never really stand a chance. You can play if you choose, but the house will never lose. So now, in California, you can loot $950 of merchandise. You can knowingly infect someone with HIV, but if you try to prevent vote fraud,
you will be prosecuted.
He's not lying. Going to give you 100% true. Everything he just said, you can steal up to $900. You can't get arrested. Steal. You can commit a crime. It's legal. It's not your stuff. You steal. You can't. You can actually do the other thing with the disease there. Yep, no problem there. Count a vote. Can put you in jail.
How can you secure the money if you can't lock the vault? How can you catch the robbers if you're not allowed to monitor the vault? And how can you even identify if the vault were even robbed in the first place if you can't even count the money? This is what California has done with the elections. Unsolicited ballots going into open mailboxes and NGOs and parking lots. Bank vault is wide open. No signature required, no ID required, no way to ID the robbers. And the beauty of their rigged system is they can have all the pageantry of this public ballot counting center. Hey, come on down. It's open to the public. Anyone can come watch so you can see just how kosher our system is.
We are inside LA County's massive ballot processing center when Assistant United States Attorney arrived on scene to observe the process and ask questions.
All the fraud that does occur happens long before the ballots even hit this building. People have been pushing me to demand a recount. Why? You could recount these anonymous ballots 100 times. You'll get the same exact result. I have no doubt that they are doing a flawless job of accurately counting every single ballot in here with robotic precision. The fraud isn't here. It's here on Skid Row, where homeless people are paid a couple bucks for their ballots.
They give you $2 to vote? Yeah, we can dispute. We can shoot something. Do they come down here and pay you to vote?
Yes.
I told you who to vote for? Because I'm voting your way. Did I get a plate? You know what I mean?
It's here.
That is beyond sickening. You're taking advantage of people who are completely down on their luck. You're not taking them down the street and saying, hey, let me help you with, get back on your feet. No, here, put the smiley face on the ballot. Here's $10. Go get yourself a bottle of wine, and you've done your job. You are my constituents at this point. I wasn't making it up earlier when I was telling you that their biggest swath of people at this point are people who have nothing, who are criminals, who are illegals, who are completely down on their luck, completely hopeless. They have realized there are so many ballots in that group of population. That is the orc plant. And it's sickening and disgusting because as soon as they get the signature, they're gone. I gotta take a shower. I was too close to this guy. He was icky and he was flocking out and all kinds of stuff. But I got him to sign this thing. When they talk about Christians and they say we're doing bad because we don't want to just continue to enable people and stay on SNAP and food stamps and Medicaid forever, at least you're taking our money. At least they're getting food every month. These people, you're going into Skid Row and you're waking some guy up sleeping under a cardboard box and saying, sign this, here's $10, I'm out.
where socialist street animals go door to door and violate the ballot harvesting laws. People bring up the old communist adage often attributed to Stalin saying, it's not who votes that counts, it's who counts the votes. No, this is the modern era of fraud. They've gotten wise. The modern communist agrees with the old communist, but just the first part. It doesn't matter who votes. It doesn't matter if it's a drug zombie being paid for the ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a DSA socialist street animal filling out your ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a blue-haired intern at a Nithya Raman-funded NGO filling out the ballots. The bank vault is wide open.
That's scary. And when I saw this piece by Spencer, I know I wanted to close with it because it underscores what's happening in Maine. They no longer care about viable people. They now understand we can get people in office with the least of people in our society. We can take advantage of the people in the sewer. And I don't mean that to talk down. I mean that literally. They'll go into Skid Row. They will get these people to, I don't know, do anything. Put an X. Do something. We will take advantage of these people just so they will vote.
Cameras have been removed, and there's no way to count the money. Now, for those of you who wanted me to fight the election, for those of you who thought I was quitting or I was bought off to step aside and quietly disappear, I'll remind you, there's a smart way to handle these things and a dumb way. Evidence is not proof. I don't say things without proof. Now, anyone saying that there's no evidence of fraud is lying. There's tons of evidence, and I was the one who got it. All those videos that you saw of homeless people admitting that they were paid for their vote, where do you think they came from? Immediately after the big spike of votes came in for Nithya, I sent my team down to Skid Row to collect evidence. We were warned by some very well-connected people that this was happening, so we acted on it immediately. But if you want to end this fraud, doing protests and bitching about stolen elections won't get you anything. You need the fraudsters to start catching charges. For that to happen, you need proof. That's what investigators do. They turn evidence into proof with a robust investigation. You think it's a coincidence that 20 FBI agents suddenly descended on Skid Row to investigate vote fraud? Why do you think they were there? You don't get evidence by going to rallies or storming the ballot processing center. You get evidence by doing real work. And the first rule of criminal investigation is you do not talk about it. Here's the reality. It's too late for my campaign. A lot of people refuse to accept that, but I can. I told you all to get your ass out and vote. Tell your friends to vote. Vote enough to beat the cheat. We didn't beat it, but that doesn't mean I quit. I don't know how to quit.
He never knew when to quit.
Oh, my goal isn't to try and salvage the campaign, just like my advocacy in the wake of the Palisades fire wasn't about my own home. It's too late for me. This is about you. This is about the next one. This is about exposing this corrupt rigged system and changing it for the next election. If I have to be the kamikaze pilot to finally get this fixed, so be it. There's a right way and a wrong way to do this.
See, that's what he's saying right here is a call to arms. He doesn't have to be the only kamikaze pilot. We all need to get behind the wheel of the plane, the stick, because at this point, you can see what they're doing. And he's all the way in big California. In little Maine, they're doing it. They're taking advantage of people just to get votes. They have figured out these people here are the key. They're not talking to me. They're not talking to you. They're not talking to other Democrats. They are talking to this segment of society who means nothing to them other than the fact that they can put a smiley face on a piece of paper. Think how cheap that is. You know, you and I want lesser taxes. You and I would like, safety. Why do you think they're pushing eliminate the police? Because the people who are their constituents don't care. That means we get to do more stuff. Wow, defund the police? That'd be cool, man. With no cops, we can just do what we want. Why do you think they open methadone clinics and give away? And why do you think they do all the stuff that they do? Because they're catering to that segment of society.
The right way isn't easy, but it ends with commie animals and handcuffs. I will restore faith in our elections if it's the last thing I do. And to all you fraudsters out there, we've been watching you, and justice is coming.
There's a reason why we also had to handle those ballots with gloves. It's very, very disgusting what they're doing to to, depending on whatever these people are going through, they're using them. You imagine that your vote, as a human being, your vote is worth a bottle of wine. You're being bought off with just something as simple as that. Here's $10. Just go ahead and say it. $10. You hit the lottery. You've hit the lottery as a downtrodden person, and the only thing someone's asking from you, especially some of the women in these areas, they're not asking you to turn a trick. They're not asking you to flash. They're not asking you to do anything. What do I got to do for 10 or 20 bucks? Okay. And that's it. And so when I was saying they're building orc armies, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Somewhere, somebody figured out we got an easy way to get a crap load of votes. And even knows we can actually do something to manufacture them because nobody is talking to these people. Hey, let's create a law where they don't even have to sign anything. And all you have to say is, yeah, I saw Mr. Smiley Face. I'm the witness. And you can't even check or you go to jail. Or Miss Cutie up in Maine saying, we control everything. It's none of your business. Where's my money? It's gone. These people are building something that's akin to what we saw in Lord of the Rings, and it's scary. And they now know we know. They now know we're taking a look and we're seeing what you're doing. Before I go, Ashley just sent me this story. It just dropped what time? About 4:25, so just a little while ago. Let me see if I can bring the video in that goes along with it, because it's very interesting. Things are happening. You squeeze the orange or apple or whatever from a different direction. But here we got this. Holy crap. Gavin Newsom just started panicking and raging when asked about the federal investigations to himself and his wife. He knows poor and innocent people getting knocks on the door first thing in the morning. They want to take me out. Abuses of the most corrupt administration in history. Newsom refuses to mention that a probe involving him first began under Biden. It's all coming out. Let me see what the level of sound is on this video.
Consistently. And so I was clear in that statement why I did what I did, and that was the abuse was overwhelming. Poor and innocent people getting knocks on the door first thing in the morning, having to hire private attorneys, lives and reputation at risk for no other reason they want to take me out, going after my wife. Doesn't have the gut. He's tried. You've reported that.
Investigations into you, your wife, your staff?
Not much more than has already been provided. I mean, this is purely political. You've seen some of the reporting. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys have reported it as well. People have stated pretty clearly they were directed to find something.
Have more people been contacted in your circle?
To find something. Just directed. Find something. It says everything you need to know about the United States of America under Donald Trump. And so we continue to, maintain vigilance as it relates to the just weaponization by the Department of Justice and other power ministries under the Trump administration. And a lot has been reported, and I don't have much more to add except it's pretty disgraceful. And it's pretty obvious that I'm not timid as it relates to calling out the abuses of the most corrupt administration in American history. What more evidence did you need than the tax returns that he just put out, the $2.2 billion in income that Donald Trump has received, the fact that investors in his meme coin law.
He's in trouble. He's in deep trouble, and he knows it. He absolutely knows it. You can look at his face. You can point at Trump all you want. It doesn't matter. If you've done something, you've done it. And at this point, we have, I guess Todd Blanche probably is digging in. They're digging in. They've got microscopes. They're looking up your rear end. And you mentioned President Trump. It wasn't a tax return, idiot. It was a financial disclosure. They vetted that. They've been vetting everything he does for years. You can say corrupt until you're blue in the face, but it's legal. What we want to know is what you did with the money, the billions that went to the train to nowhere. We want to know what you've done with, the other 22 billion from unemployment insurance we're going to talk about tomorrow. You got a whole lot of answering at this point. Man, wouldn't be surprised to see him take a long walk off of the Malibu pier or something. Oh boy, he's coming down. All right, man, I got to get ready to go. What you got? Anything?
Yeah.
What?
A couple stories. The one at the bottom is 11 minutes ago about Iran launched missiles and drones at U.S. military bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar after fresh U.S. strikes on targets in southern and eastern Iran pushed the fragile 3-week ceasefire to the brink. So it looks like, we're continuing to fire missiles and drones, and I don't know. They're going to run out eventually.
I was just going to say that. You have to wonder if maybe what they've been doing is try to get Iran to shoot something so they can see where they are. Because boom, you're done. Go ahead, shoot something else up in the air. Because like I said before, I never hear anything about damage. I mean, if they're saying this, they're saying Iran launched missiles and drones at military bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar after fresh. Where? Pictures? Anything happening? I mean, watch.
I'm sure they know every inch of what's going on down there.
It's 5:15. Let me know between now and tomorrow morning if you guys see any pictures anywhere of a whole bunch of different damage going on. I bet you won't.
I just see a lot of stuff on fire all the time.
Yeah. we don't know if they're using the same pictures, but it's just very interesting that nobody ever gets hurt. I'm just saying.
Well, it's precision strikes. I mean, last night this morning I came into True Social, and Trump had posted a lot of pictures. I mean, there was it was phew. So he's obviously posting what allegedly is getting blown up over there.
I'm getting anxious for another press conference from Pete Hegseth. There hasn't been one. Him and General Raising Cane haven't had a press conference in forever. I mean, I'd love to hear what he's got to say. All right. So what's
by
your
the
next
way,
one?
I was right about my assumption. So when Trump took the old Air Force One, so there was a credible source. Apparently, the story was that Secret Service had warned Trump that there might have been something nefarious going on. So. Yeah, I mean, there's no coincidences. So he did the old shuffle, sent the new one over there.
I saw that, and I was wondering, was there something embedded on the plane? Was there some sort of? You would think they would have caught that before they put him on it the first time, but who knows?
Yeah,
some invisible stuff.
Yeah. All right. The two stories up. Let's do the one about Trump accounts from Eric Doherty. I'm putting a little disclaimer underneath it, a little thing to let you know what's what. Yeah, there we go. So, check this out. Massive shock to the fake news. Trump accounts in 5 days have received a surge of $125 million for America's children. That's not even counting $1,000 of seed money and wealthy donor contributions. Wow. 6.5 million American children now have accounts, and a vast majority of contributions are below $250 per the Washington Examiner. This is a huge win. The benefits of this will be felt for generations. Imagine the compounding interest these kids will see when they're grown. Winning. Can we do the winning? Winning.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Oh, I love that meme.
I still think how much of a loser do you have to be mad at Trump and you won't put your money for your children or grandchildren in one of those accounts? I mean, just completely. That's TDS. That is absolutely TDS.
I would love to know how many of that 6.5 are liberal parents, though. Like they're not telling anybody,
Oh, that would definitely be funny if we could.
I'd like to know the stats on that
if they
one.
could sort it out.
Okay,
right.
so the last story. So this is the update on the cartel. I mean, the president of Mexico.
Oh, she's nuts. I mean,
check this story out. So she's
she's being
obviously
ruled by the deep state.
well. I mean, you look at her eyes. She's held hostage. I mean, so here we go. Now, Mexico is formally demanding criminal charges against federal agents after claiming 17 Mexicans died in ICE custody or during enforcement operations under President Trump. This comes after one Mexican illegal tried ramming an agent with their vehicle. President Claudia Sheinbaum is a total joke. The crest has zero legal weight. What a pathetic act from Mexico. Mexico needs to clean house. They are obviously cartel dominated. The country bordering us should be a better ally. Yeah, I mean, I wonder when we're going to get to them.
Wait a second. You're suing us because one of your people came over here and did stuff bad they weren't supposed
Illegal.
to. How about we sue the hell out of you for even letting them over here? Oh my gosh. And what kind of
theater?
what kind of standing do you have? Oh my God.
Isn't that nuts?
I mean, sometimes you hear these people talk and you're like, this can't be real. They're just doing everything they possibly can.
I heard that she voted for Plattner.
No, I can't tell you. That's what she would have to say. She would have to say, I can't tell you, and then take it from there. All right, so I'm pressed for time, so I got to
Sure.
get
Have a great
out
night,
of here.
Barry.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Taking the grandkid to football practice. All right, so let's go ahead and do super chats, and we can go on our way. All right, Fakowski, thank you, Fakowski. Figure it out who the Democrat Party reminds of. You are not the father. Exactly. Ronaldo, exactly right, Barry. Dems go full-blown crazy to make crazy look good. This is how they're inching to the left and more. I don't know if you want to say inching. They're lurching. The communists cater to Lenin's useful idiots, attack our history, attack our faith, make more useful idiots. Makes you wonder, like some of the people you see there holding signs. We know they're paying for ballots. Are they paying people to hold up them signs? Possibly. OGC, Barry, it's hard for the Democrats to see the right man for the job when they walk around with their heads up their butts. Agreed. Barry Canova. Barry, your orc analogy just woke this 68-year-old's mindset. My buttocks just fuckered. Scary stuff. I mean, I'm serious. There may not be that many homeless people in Maine, but nonetheless, they are feasting. Whether it's mental issues or whatever, they're feasting on the least of us to get them to vote. So, yeah, I feel like they're orcs. G. Fisher, 60 days ago, Plattner was worth 3,100. Now he's probably worth about 25 million. Yeah. With her not being able to answer where the money is, don't you guys find that kind of odd? I do. I definitely do. GSOP, they should just mail out letters letting the Democrats know who they installed and tell them just to send money. That's not far-fetched. I mean, they just don't seem to have a grasp on reality in that regard. Linnell, I saw a movie way back in the 80s that completely disturbed me called 120 Days of Sodom, but it totally describes the current Democrat Party of today. Wow, I might have to go find that. Chiosop, and they knew they could get away with it all. This voter fraud because Republicans didn't have any bulls to stop them or any brains to figure it out, nor any real legal means. That's the other problem with it. And one more just came in late. Chiosop, without cheating, Dems got 5% of the vote. I really don't think they are a viable party. And like Newt Gingrich said, this is the end of the Democrat Party. They don't, because the people that are even winning aren't Democrats. They're just using the name. Definitely a Trojan horse. All right, everybody. I've got to get out of here in 10 minutes, so I'll put the after party on, but I'm going to have to cut it a little bit short. Thank you.